Yes, folks, here we go. Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. We're here at Celtic Park. The build-up to the derby can officially begin. I'm here with Declan. It's the beautiful Scottish autumn, mate.
It's absolutely Baltic.
Brilliant, isn't it?
You've dragged me away for uni writing for this, so it better be good.
Aye, I hope it will be, mate. I thought the weather was going to be brilliant. It was good at this time yesterday.
I know, it was nice and sunny yesterday.
Baltic,
and we've here and it's freezing. Oh, I've got a flight coming across us.
Brilliant.
That's not a
You better enjoy this. Big game, mate. Big game. Strange coming into it in this situation with obviously international break. There's a game. Scotland are playing tonight. All of this COVID stuff that's went on straight into the first derby of the season and the 10 in a row season with no fans. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it?
It's going to be the weirdest Celtic Rangers game I think there's been. You know, the whole build up to it just doesn't feel the same for fans. It's not going to be allowed to be here on Saturday. We've got our squad depleted by COVID-19 and we hope all those guys recover because obviously we know the horrible illness that this is, so we hope all those guys come back fit. But it's weird, but it's another game, it's another 3 points, and I'm sure Neil Lennon and his players will be well fired up for this game.
We're going to take a sweepstake, by the way, on how many interruptions we'll get while we're recording this. Many, I think, Declan? Two,
go
three?
For 2 or 3.
2 or 3,
We've
yeah.
had a few belters passes so far, so
I'll go 3. Personnel, mate. There's obviously the big talking point. Edward, Beaton, El Ahmed all had positive tests. Ryan Christie had to self-isolate due to Stuart Armstrong's positive test. You think about other than that, beyond the COVID stuff, we've got Julian, who's never played for a month. He's just coming back for injury. James Forrest is out longer term. I mean, it's a depleted squad, isn't it?
It's a depleted squad, and it's a shame for a lot of the guys that, you know, would have been big players in this game, but that might work in our favour. You know, to me just now the pressure will be on Rangers because of the amount of players that we've got missing. They've not had any positive tests as of yet for COVID, so they've got their full squad to choose from. Obviously you've mentioned we've got players out, so it could work in our favour. You know, a mentality thing behind this. This team's proven before that it can rise up from the ashes when it's down, so hopefully it might even give us a bit more motivation to go into the game.
I think we're going to need that because, see, I need to be honest, mate, like, I don't know what I've got to go on here. I'm thinking about recent performances. We've done well to win when we've not been playing well. The last 2 derbies, the performances haven't been great. The game here in December, where they beat us 2-1, and then the cup final, where we defended for the majority of the game and managed to steal it. I just think we're going to need to start playing well at some point. I don't think we're going to get away with the level of performance we've put in a lot of games this season. I think on Saturday the level of performance is going to need to be much better.
It will need to improve. You know, a game like this might be the game that it just clicks and players maybe lift their game that wee bit extra that we've not seen so far, but it's still a positive that we've been getting 3 points when we haven't played well. I mean, you know, and it could have been better, but we've still been winning games. That's good. We could come into this game with momentum, winning games off the back of obviously the late goals up in Perth, but this could be the game that we might just lift it, and what a game to lift it in.
Aye. Can I just say, by the way, it's brilliant about making a real video.
It's nice to see
a real video, not a live stream. Following all the rules, socially distanced here at Celtic Park, the closest we've got to Celtic Park for months. It's brilliant. Ryan Christie, obviously he's going to be out because the isolation period takes him beyond the game. Is he going to be a big miss? I think I've heard a couple of people saying Christie's a big miss because he is obviously one of the first names in the team sheet by all accounts. Neil Lennon really likes him as a player. He gives us a lot of energy, but for me he's just yet to excel in these games. He's yet to perform in these games, and I think that's a good opportunity for Olivier Ntcham. We talk about having a big squad all the time, and we have got a good squad. We've strengthened it this season without losing any big players, so I think it's a great opportunity for Olivier Ntcham to come in and really like grab his chance with both hands, because we've heard a lot about Ntcham, people like lavish and praise on him all season, particularly throughout the pre-season and the summer, but there's been some games where he started, and I think for a player of his ability he should be excelling, and we should be like, and Ntcham's the first name in the team sheet now, but I just think some games he's let it drift him by, and I think if Christie is out and Ntcham's in, it's a great opportunity for him, and we know, we've seen it in games against Rangers before, and with a lot of the French boys, they're big game players, so it's a great opportunity for Ntcham. And what do you think of Christie being it?
Christie is a miss to your team, as you say. You know, I mean, in this fixture he's not really been a standout, but he's a team player. He'll maybe at times take the chance and have a shot, which has been beneficial in the past couple of games when he's been the only player that's wanted to have a shot and target. But as you've said before, Ncham's performed in this game. I mean, 2 years ago here we won 1-0 due to a Ncham goal, so he's proven his selling this fixture. We know he's a good football player. If he gets his chance on Saturday, which I think he will, I think it'll be a midfield via Brown, McGregor and Ncham. Go and play and go and show us what you've got, because we all know he can do it. It's just him turning up and doing it on the day, because when he does do it on the day, he's one of the best, if not the best midfielder in Scotland. So when he does it, he can be absolutely outstanding. So hopefully he takes his chance on Saturday.
I would just want to see a big performance from him, definitely. The other Frenchman that we all want to see, Odsonne Edouard, maybe not been the best of forms at times this season so far. He's had the positive test. I don't think he's going to be back in the country till what, Friday, is it?
I think so.
So, I mean, what's your gut feel, do you think? I think it is asymptomatic as well. I don't know, there's so many people talking about it. I don't think anybody knows his condition really, do they? But
I mean, us ourselves fans, we're no medical experts, so we don't really know the circumstances behind this. I saw a tweet saying he would be back on Friday, which could mean he could still feature on Saturday, whether that maybe be in the bench. But
he's only been out for what, 10 days or something, so I don't think his fitness is going to be impacted too much. If he's been well enough to keep fit in his isolation period, then I think he might start. I mean, what's your gut feel, do you think? He's just so important to us. I think he's the one player that we need on the team sheet. He's the biggest player in the team, and I think even if his fitness isn't quite there, we still need to have him. I think it'd be a huge boost for us if he's starting. He's
proven he's selling this fixture. I mean, how many times has he popped up with big goals in this game? You go back to the 3-2 game at Ibrox, 5-0 game here, the 2-1 game here. He's always good for a goal in this fixture, and obviously at Ibrox in the 2-0 game last season. So, you know, mentality wise for the Rangers team, they would not like to see him featured in our team, because he does what Dembele did when he was at Celtic and absolutely terrifies Rangers defenders. So again, on the training pitch, Neil Lennon's comments, he's only going to get 2 days, if that, to work with the players when they come back. Of course, Scotland's got this game against Czech Republic. A lot of players again will be just travelling back tomorrow, so they probably will really get one proper day in the training part on Friday. So whether Edouard not being able to kind of be featured at the training at Lennoxtown on Friday might mean that Neil Lennon might not be, you know, if he takes the chance for him, he might just take the chance for him, because as you say, Paul, he's been a big player in this fixture, and he's a big player in our team. He's so important for us, but there's so many, as I say, personnel choices for Neil Lennon. I think obviously Laxalt is there maybe for a debut as well. I think a lot of people think Greg Taylor might keep his place. You've got Lee Griffiths, who came back against St Johnstone off the bench to get the winner. He's a huge impact player for us as well. Yet he's coming back for injury. Where does El Yunusi fit in? I mean, formation wise, you expect us to go 3 at the back, 3-5-2? I think we'll go 3 at the back. The reason we switched to that in January was after getting beat here, and that's why we were kind of building up, I think, to that game in March, and the 3-5-2 worked. It's not really clicked this season as of yet for us, but we've got the personnel to play it. I think we'll go with that. On the Laxalt and Griff, the two of them played in a bounce game here last Friday, so it's good that they've got minutes under their belt, which might kind of signal to us that they're maybe going to feature. But I don't know, it'll be up to the manager on the day again. As you say, Ayeti's coming back, and he's proven himself recently. If, you know, a ball's in the box, the chances of him scoring are, you know, we think he'll bag a goal. So there's a lot of choices up front, and again, Patrick Klimala took that goal really well at St Johnstone. Whether he's a starting player, I don't know as of yet, but he can certainly make an impact off the bench. So plenty of choices. Klimala is another one. I just think it's too early to put him into a game like this. He done well when he came off the bench against St Johnstone. I know he's been playing for the Polish under-21s again in this international break, but I just think it's a wee bit too early for him. I think Griffiths is huge. Griffiths is absolutely huge for us. The difference, I think, if we go 3-5-2, and we will go 3-5-2 because that's what we've been playing for 5 or 6 weeks now. We can't go for playing that formation to just switch back to 4 at the back. And we've seen how it never worked, the 4 at the back against Rangers in the cup final in the game at the end of December. You know what I mean? In the midfield we get absolutely overrun. So I don't think we can. I don't think there's any danger. I don't think there's any danger of going 4 at the back. So I think we will go 3, but we've seen El Yunusi play just off the striker or up with the striker. I don't think it's really clicked for El Yunusi in that position. I know I've been critical of El Yunusi at times this season for his inconsistency, but
I think Griffiths and Edward together, it's what we've seen last season. It was brilliant. It was what blew teams away in that second half of the season. I know Edward is a doubt. Griffiths has only played one sub appearance in the 7-8 months and a bounce game as well. So maybe he's not quite tip-top condition to come into a game like this, but I think even if it's off the bench, Lee Griffiths is huge for us. He's huge. We know he's a goal-getter, and so is Lee Griffiths. And if Edward maybe isn't in top condition, whether he starts the game or not, we've got options there, and I think in Griffiths and Ayeti, we've got goal scorers. We've
got 4 good strikers to choose from. Again, with Moelinussi, there's a possibility he could maybe be played as in the kind of number 10 position, just behind the strikers. Because we've seen him feature there before, so he maybe could go in there.
It's got to be in Cham's position, but in it.
Yeah, well, I think it has to be in Cham's position, but we know what Neil Lennon's like in these games. He likes to sometimes throw in a curveball.
Well, that's my next question for you. If Neil Lennon's going to throw a surprise, if you could pick what Neil Lennon's big team selection surprise is going to be in this game, what do you think it's going to be?
It's either going to be Griff maybe starting, where that could be a surprise for Rangers, or it could be maybe Moy in the hole, or it could even be Laxalt starting, because I think a lot of people think that Taylor's going to.
I think Laxalt will start.
I think he'll start.
I think Laxalt will start.
He's played in World Cups, in the World Cup, and made the team of the tournament. This guy is by no means not played in big fixtures, and as well as that, AC Milan speaks volumes of the level of football he's at. So he's played in big fixtures. It's an empty stadium. There's no reason why he can't play if he's fit. There's
a lot of talk about how much football he's played and whether he's going to be ready or not, but I think Neil Lennon was actually quite happy with his when he came in, and Neil Lennon in the press conference said he's in decent condition, he's available for our upcoming games, and we know that he likes to spring a surprise, as you say. I think Laxalt will start. I really do.
And I don't see any problems with him starting at all, because as you're saying there, if his conditioning is good, that'll be beneficial to us. He's played in the big stages. With no fans in the stadium, he's not really got anything to worry about. There's not going to be that pressure on him that you would get making your debut in a Glasgow Derby game. So by all means, I would fire him into the team, and we know that Michael Beale's comments and Celtic's coaching staff have been quite disrespectful, and I hope that in Saturday we prove him wrong. He doesn't rate Neil Lennon, John Kennedy and Strachan, so hopefully we can prove him wrong, but I think a wee curveball will be in there on Saturday.
That's all the motivation you need in it, stuff like that. I think Laxalt, the big thing in this game is going to be out wide. Obviously Rangers fullbacks like to push forward. Barisic on one side, Tavernier on the other.
As do the wingers.
As do the wingers who come inside the pitch. But I think big in this game, Jeremy Frimpong, who's been our best attacking outlet for weeks now, he's going to have defending to do. So if he can get Barisic going the other way and Laxalt on the other side, I think Laxalt will give Rangers something unknown. They know what they're going to be facing in Greg Taylor. Greg Taylor as a attacking outlet is not the most dynamic, so I think if we throw Laxalt in there, it gives them something totally unexpected. They've never came up against them before, and I think that could give us a real X factor on Saturday.
It will, because Rangers analysis won't have had a real chance to look at him and won't kind of know the way he's going to work in our team. So if you throw him in, you're right away you're maybe putting a curveball in it and looking at Tavernier and fighting, well, he won't know how to deal with him, so that could work to our benefit. And again, as an attacking outlet, I think he's a lot better option in a 3-5-2 than Greg Taylor would be. It's no disrespect to Greg Taylor, but I think his position as a left back should be in a back four, not in a 3-5-2. I don't think that's his position.
I think we've seen that, and I don't want to go through the whole team because we will have the starting 11 prediction tomorrow, obviously. But I think Laxalt, what is he, 26-year-old, coming for AC Milan, get him in there. I mean, surely that's the games you want to play in. I know there's no fans there, but it's one of the biggest derbies in world football. That's the games you want to play in, and if you're coming for a decent level in Italy, then he's ready. Okay, his fitness might not be fine, you can deal with that 60-70 minutes in, but I think get him in. I'd love to see him.
I would get him in, and it's again with other guys when we're talking about fitness, the strikers, if they're even coming on to make an impact, 20 minutes or so, we've got 5 subs to use and 3 rotations, so by all means, that could be really, really beneficial to us. But the squad, if you look at both benches, I would say, when you look at the squad, even though we are a wee bit depleted, we've still got guys like David Turnbull, like the strikers, that can come on and do something in the game for us. Aye,
we've got strength there in the squad, and I think it's time for the guys to really take this opportunity and help us out. Coming on to, I touched on it at the top, no fans. I mean, you can't believe that this fixture's getting no fans. It's one of the most passionate, intense derbies in the world. and it must be the first time. Must be the first time ever there's been no fans.
I think it will be the first time ever.
So how much would you think that's going to do to the game? How do you think it's going to impact it? It's going to be surreal, isn't it?
I think watching the United and Spurs game and the Liverpool Villa game, we saw these crazy scorelines, which was obviously due to no fans being in the stadium. The pressure isn't there as much. It might make Celtic a wee bit more defensively minded because they won't have people in their backs to go forward. Again, though, Rangers are used to coming here now and a kind of cauldron of Celtic fans, so they won't even have that pressure. They can just come here and play football. On Saturday, you get two good, decent footballing teams coming up against each other. I think there will be goals, and I think it will be whoever is up for it in the day will win the game.
Comparing Lennon versus Gerrard, played 5, Neil Lennon's won 3, Rangers have won 2. Aggregate score in those games is Celtic 6, Rangers 5. So they've all been close. Yep. They've all been very, very close. They've been tense affairs. These derbies are tense affairs at the best of times. I think it is going to be another one, but I think that ingredient of no fans really changes it. I think these games suit Rangers. I think that's why the last 2 derbies they've performed relatively well in. Dominated us in the cup final. I think it suits them, and that's why you can see in Europe they have good results in Europe as well, because these games where teams aren't sitting in, and defending, then they're able to hit them on the counter. I think that's why they thrive in Europe, and I think that's why it suits them in these games. So it might not be the worst thing if Celtic you think back to the game at Ibrox in last September, where we went on the front foot, but we didn't go gung-ho. No. We were happy just to defend well, and we picked them off. And I think that wouldn't be the worst thing. It
wouldn't be the worst thing, because you know yourself, when you play here at home, there's always an expectation to attack and entertain us, as the old saying is. So if we can just maybe just get a grasp of the game, get a grip of it, control it. If it's the midfield 3 that the 2 is think, you know, McGregor and Brown's going to be really, really important in dictating the tempo of the game. If those 2 can get a hold of the game and control midfield, then I don't see Celtic having any problems on Saturday. But as long as we just keep it calm, keep it cool, and try and get a good hold of the game from the start, I think it's really, really important.
Aye. Looking at the form so far, obviously Rangers are sitting top now. We've got the game in hand, obviously. I think this season we've defended, we've 4 clean sheets in a row now, so we're getting better. We've looked defensively suspect at times when we're adjusting to 3-5-2. I think Rangers, when they went to Hibs, again, that's one of the games where Hibs have had joy defensively, so I don't think Rangers defensively are like impenetrable at all. I think they can be getting it. We've seen it. I think they can be gotten at. We've seen it in these derbies. Goldson, if it's going to be Helander, put them under pressure, and I think you'll get something from them. That's why I think I would maybe like to see Edouard and Griffiths at some stage in the game, because there's mistakes in that Rangers defence. And
you want guys that are going to harass them. They can certainly. I mean, we saw the chat at the start of the season, the usual, that this Rangers team had went so many games with clean sheets, but we've saw them being picked open by Hibs. Galatasaray got a goal against them too, so by no means can we not score against them. We've got good enough players in our team to score against them, but again, it's getting up front, harassing them and getting in their faces and making our players do what they do best, and that's, you know, really press them, and when the chances come, take them.
The start in these games is something that's so important. This season I don't think we've started games particularly well at all. I think a few games this season we've started really slowly, and I don't think we can get away with that on Saturday. I want to see us, for the word go, impose ourselves in the game, get in the front foot again, like the game at Ibrox last September, where for kick-off we kicked into the corner and pinned them back, and everybody thought what was happening at the time. But you see, mentally, that was us getting in the front foot, playing in their half. I think that's so important on Saturday. We can't start this game slowly. We can't let them get the foothold. We've got to set the tempo, and we've got to take control of it for the word go, because if you look at the cup final and you look at the game here in December, where they started better, it's very, very hard to come back in a game like this when you have a slow start.
It is. If a team takes control of this fixture at the start, they're going to really be in control for the rest of the game. So, as you say, take good control at the start of the game. Don't just, you know, we're not expecting Celtic to go right gung-ho and go into their half, play it about in there and score right away. By no means is that the expectation, but as long as we can try and keep the ball and keep a lid on it, then start to to give them problems, because we know this Celtic team can be good at that, and that's why we know fans in the stadium, it might work to our advantage, because there's not going to be the pressure in the team to just kind of go at Rangers right away. If we can just try and cool it and do what we did at Ibrox, I think we'll be okay.
You talked about some of the results in the English Premier League a fortnight ago, with Spurs winning 6-1 at Old Trafford and then Villa beating Liverpool 7-2. I think there's going to be goals in this game. I really think there's going to be goals in this game. I think it could be 6-goal thriller easily.
It could be. I mean, it could be another kind of 3-2 game that we saw at Ibrox a couple of years ago, because we know there's players in both teams that can score goals and two defences that can be got at. So I think there definitely will be goals in this game. 2-1, 3-2, something like that, but it's only Celtic win and it's 3 points. I'm not really that bothered.
Well, before we finished, I was going to push you for a prediction.
I'm going to go 2-1 Celtic.
2-1 Celtic.
2-1 Celtic, and a kind of performance like the Hibs game here, where we took control, got in their faces, because we knew Hibs were going to come and have a go at us, like Rangers will. If we can try and take control of the game and get our players firing on all cylinders, McGregor, Brown, really important in that midfield. I don't see us having any problem, and then going to the top of the table.
There you go, that's it for today. Absolutely buzzing, can't wait for Saturday. We hope you've enjoyed this video. We came to Celtic Park. I know a lot of you watch for all over the world, so nice to connect you back to the stadium. I'm sure you haven't seen it for a while. Like the video, comment your own thoughts below. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We'll be back tomorrow with the starting 11 prediction for the game, and then we've got all the usual match day content on Saturday as well. Cheers.